Okay folks, this is Frank the Pesky. We're here doing a new start on a inspection that I'm doing on a property before we take it on as the client. And we do a complete irrigation inspection, we do a complete lawn inspection, we do a consultation with the client. We explain to the client everything that has to get fixed for this to happen. And let me move out of here, because obviously the dog loves me. This is a Zoysia lawn that was installed not too long ago, and it's looking terrible. And obviously when somebody installs a luxury lawn like a Zoysia lawn, it's a high maintenance lawn. I mean, to get this thing really nice, we've got to be here at least every 2 weeks, inspecting, monitoring. The irrigation system was on like 6 minutes. The lawn is completely dry. It was on for 6 minutes every day. This is clearly not enough, and there is damage to a lot of heads, and this is a brand new installation. The contractor hasn't come back to inspect it all and make sure that everything is running right after the plants were installed. And that's a common problem that you have with installations, where our secret to our service is the follow-up. It's follow-up, 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 inspect, inspect, inspect. Staying on top of everything. You can't have a luxury lawn and schedule it on a program where it's set it and forget it and nobody's looking at it. And this is the challenge. So I'm going to show you the problems of why we're having this issue. Check this out. Okay, so we turned on the irrigation. This thing is very, as you can see, it was very hydrophobic. I'm touching here. Look how sandy this is. I mean, it's just sand. It doesn't have enough water, it's draining, and this thing is very dry. Weeds have encroached. We have a variety of grass weeds, sedges, and weeds. And next door, look at next door, all of those weeds that are just gonna come over to this property because it's a vacant lot next door. So we got broadleaf weeds now that we need to deal with. It didn't take very well. There's globe sedge right there. So we've got sedges. Now we've got from palm trees, these little things growing here from palm trees that have to be manually removed. There's really not going to be any control for that. Now we have also grasses that are encroaching on this property. And what we need to do is identify all of the problems, the potential problems that we have. Look at all the weeds that just encroach. Look how bad this lawn is. This is a very expensive lawn, and you just can't hand this over to a landscaper and say, just mow it. I mean, this is like buying a Bentley, buying Rolexes. These things are going to take maintenance and somebody to be on top of it. And this is the problem that we have with installing lawns, that nobody consults you and says, you're going to have to. Look at this grass weed. This has to be manually pulled. This isn't a sedge. That isn't a broadleaf weed. So my technician is going to have to be here every 2 weeks, staying on top of this lawn, inspecting it, figuring out what it is. But clearly there isn't enough water on this lawn. It's just very hydrophobic right now. You know, just not enough water being applied deeply enough. It needs about look how rocky this is. This is what it was installed on. You know, so you've got all this that was from this tank that's here. But look at the sand. We're installing this on sand. There's no topsoil here. So we're going to have to do top dressing. We're going to have to do aeration. It needs to be mowed at the right height. There's some issues going on with water in that corner. Irrigation heads that are not straight. So we're doing an inspection right now just to get a perspective. We got standing water from the gutter. That's not good because it's not draining. And look at all the moss we have in this area where there's no sun, just growing in the soil. That's just here it is very moist. So we're going to have issues there with rotting. And we're going to walk around, and obviously this is brand new construction. Oh, we got damage over here. And let me walk around the property. Obviously there's a lot of water here and not enough over there. I don't know if you can see, if I go down here, there's this valley. It just goes like that, and then it goes, and I can see it from here. So there's going to be draining and puddling probably in the middle. We've got a dog, we got several dogs, and this is dog urine. That's what that's causing that. That's not a fungal disease. So obviously still a lot of stuff here to do. They installed cypress, which is going to have Ceridian canker already showing. Good luckily it's been put into a landscape where there's sun almost on every side, but it's going to get Ceridian canker no matter what. And there's already the Ceridian canker showing up on this cypress. Look how hydrophobic this is over here. Look at this. The irrigation was set and forgotten. They did the installation of the plants. Nobody checked it to see how this actually was performing. This side of the house holds a ton of water. Look how much moss there is down there. We got irrigation heads that aren't enough for this side. I'm gonna go around the front now. Oh, the other section over there got turned on now. So when you do an irrigation inspection, man, somebody needs to come back to the property after this landscape has been installed, it's been done. Somebody needs to come back on this property and do an inspection and say, hey, is this accurate? Did it get clogged? I mean, you got a new system, there's dirt, sand in a new system that heads and nozzles are gonna clog. You know, are they rotating properly? Are they set right? Because do I want water hitting that directly? I probably don't, because I'm just gonna start getting some disease. So you need to optimize. When you're doing these high-end, really expensive properties, man, somebody's got to invest time. The landscaper's here every week or every 2 weeks, not being checked. You know, the owner is not checking it. He's, running his business. He's doing what he's doing. He's hiring people. And all of a sudden, this looks this way. It's just, the expertise that is needed to stay on top of this. This is the secret to everything. It's follow up, follow up, follow up. Stay on top of it. You got to be borderline paranoid about it. Look at that head going all the way around. And it probably doesn't need to. I need to see if there's another type of head there. It's doing 360. It doesn't need to do a 360. These need to be adjusted. So they weren't adjusted. They were set by the irrigation company. The installers came in, installed the podocarpus, and then everybody assumes that everything is working properly, and nobody's verifying it. This is why we assume nothing in this business. We come in, we do an actual evaluation, which takes usually about an hour, because we evaluate. Most companies are going to come in and they're going to do a lawn evaluation. Tell you, yep, you got weeds, you got disease. Well, no kidding. I mean, that's why I called you, because there is a problem with the lawn. So we got overhead watering in the front here. This seems to be okay. I'm not going to have, here you have a irrigation, and that they put a sign right in front of the head. So the plants in the back are not going to get any water. Now the plants are dying and people are like, hey, you're not doing your job. No, you put a sign in front of the irrigation. So I'm going to remove it for the client, put it up here. I'm going to stick that in there for him, and then, move that for him so the plants look okay. Now we've got new Green Island ficus installed. This is perfectly normal. I mean, they were only getting 6 minutes of water in full sun. They're newly installed. See the yellowing? That's going to happen with new installations for a couple of years until they get established. Let me see if I can get over here and show you the yellowing. it's normal in Green Island ficus, especially when they're in full sun and they're newly planted. They're going to be dropping leaves and turning yellow like crazy, you know, for the next year probably or more. So understanding this, that, you know, explaining this to the client, you know, this looks pretty decent. It's going to need adjustment. We've got some Duranta Gold Mound that is, you know, defoliating. So this is going to be high maintenance plant for whiteflies here in Miami. You literally got to treat them every 3 months systemically. You know, here's the, now we've got St. Augustine Lawn encroaching, and that has to be manually removed. There is no control for St. Augustine Lawn on new Zoysia. So you've got an encroachment of a combination of St. Augustine with Zoysia installed, and now what? This looks hideous. Why would anybody who's a multi-million-dollar house allow this to be here? Because it probably belongs to the client next door, and he installed his, and he's thinking, I installed my Zoysia over there. Here's the St. Augustine, probably from this owner over here, from this house, and now how are we going to keep these separate? One of them's going to win. You're never going to have it. And then let me talk to you about over here. See how dry this is? Just not enough irrigation. There just wasn't enough. This was, you know, every week after week. Why is anybody looking at this? Here's the lot next door. So now we have all these weeds. How am I going to keep all of these weeds off of his lawn, even if I put pre-emergent herbicide? How am I going to keep it? There's nothing here. This is probably a little bit, probably drought stressed. I'm going to have to double check it. It doesn't seem to have whitefly. There's a little tiny bit of disease on it, but not too much. This is going to be to restore. But these are the challenges. I mean, we install these, you know, $100,000 garden installation. This wasn't $10,000, you know, to do all this. And you don't have the proper maintenance team on it because nobody told you. Luckily, this landscaper knows me, and he knows I'm expensive, and he only recommends me to certain clients like this because the average client couldn't afford this job to do what needs to be done. Now, this is easily going to be $500-600 a month to maintain this property. Just in chemical attention, because you're not paying for chemical spraying. This is, you know, in the industry, yes, you're going to get a technician from a commercial cut rate pest control company because you want to save the money. When you spent $100,000 on a garden, you're killing yourself. You buy the Bentley, if you buy the Mercedes, if you buy the expensive things, they require high maintenance, and they're high maintenance plants with high maintenance problems, and this is only going to be achieved by you hiring an expert company locally. Whether you hire our company or you hire another company, a real local expert who is going to be devoted to this property and dedicated. You can't have a company that has 10,000 accounts and they give the tech, you know, 20 jobs to do in a day, and he's got to hustle and he can't spend the time on this property that needs. Every time my guy comes here, it's going to be at least an hour and a half minimum on this property. Minimum, just to do the basic service. Now there's adjustments, now there's things he's got to look at, and it's easily 2 hours twice a month to be on this property to do it right. That is expensive. So, you know, is there hope for all this? Yes, they're newly planted. There's going to be stress. There's going to be problems. But it's going to take us probably about 3 months to start restoring this. It takes about 6 months to restore this lawn. It looks really bad, and we need to do some certain things here. But it can be done. And understand that when you want nice, fancy, high-maintenance lawns, it's going to require expert people to be on it. Hey, this is Frank the Pest Geek, wishing you a pestacular day.